Micah Parsons probably won't play a ton against the Detroit Lions, but it's not about his back. Don't worry about that.
You are Locked On Packers, your daily Green Bay Packers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Packers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Peter Bukowski, and I cover the Packers for The Leap, a newsletter I would love for you to subscribe to. Follow me on Twitter, Peter_Bukowski. Follow the podcast on Twitter, Locked On Packers. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to the podcast to iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you find podcasts. You will find Locked On Packers, the #1 Packers podcast on the internet, and the show for fans who know what happened. They want to know why and how. Thanks to everyone who makes Locked On Packers their first listen every day. We hope you like starting your day with us as much as we like starting our day with you. This episode brought to you by our friends at Mazda. Just like there's more to every player, more dedication, more attention to detail, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Stay tuned later in the episode for highlights from this week's Moving the Game Forward. Micah Parsons has a back injury. And I know that freaks some people out. I understand. You don't have to be freaked out. I have said this before and I will say it again. No one used to have back problems. This is a different type of injury. This is not a disc or vertebraic injury. It is a ligament issue in his back. And so it is just fundamentally different than most other back injuries. Now, does that mean it could lead to other back problems? Sure, it does. The reason this gets out right after the trade is so David Mulligetta, Micah Parsons' agent, can play the PR game. No, he was actually hurt. This was not just a holdout because Cowboys fans were annoyed. Micah Parsons wasn't practicing and then he gets traded and then he goes and practices for the Packers and it's, I guess he was never actually hurt. And when you win the negotiation so astoundingly the way that he did, I suppose you can be petty and just say, well, let's just make sure everyone knows that Micah Parsons is really dealing with the back injury, but he's probably going to be fine. Like the reality is Parsons was only ever going to play probably 15, max 20 snaps against the Lions on Sunday. No preseason, no training camp. Doesn't even know the playbook. Like 1 week of practice is not enough to get up to speed. A couple, all the third and longs, and maybe a handful of other packages, maybe more in the fourth quarter if the game is close, especially if the Packers need to shut the door or if they need to get a stop to get the ball back. Maybe he plays a couple extra snaps. This was always going to be a plan and an easing into a ramping up. Micah Parsons said it himself. This was a ramp up process. Putting out there the injury is a way to tell Cowboys fans, relax. He really was hurt. He went to get multiple opinions on it. Remember, he had the MRI. I think Brian Schottenheimer said it came back mostly clean. So you have this little issue. And he went to get a second opinion in California. And then the Packers traded for him. So you have to think that they got a lot of information in that set of tests. And at the very least, the California checkup, you can verify that. This is not something that you need to worry about. And apparently, my understanding of this anyway is that it is pretty treatable. You can get some injections. I know they're talking about injections, and that made everyone new. There was the floating of the epidural. It's, by the way, not the kind that you get when you're in labor. It sounds like it's more likely going to be cortisone or something adjacent to that. So I'm not a doctor, but it seems like, yes, he has a back issue. It's not the kind of back issue that you're normally thinking and normally worried about. So don't freak out too much about it. Now, that being said, they need to monitor this stuff carefully because no preseason, no training camp, no nothing. So they need to be even more careful with Micah Parsons because he is violent as a mover. He is explosive. He is twitched up. And those guys, if you don't have the right ramp up periods, those are the hamstrings, soft tissue injuries, Those are called fast guy injuries for a reason. Micah Parsons, despite the fact that he plays defensive end for the Packers, is a fast guy. He's a really, really fast pass rusher. And so they are going to have to be careful. And it's not ideal that you have the Sunday game into the Thursday game. You would really like to have a more gradual ascent into a full workload, but the Packers are just not going to have that luxury. So I expect they're going to be very careful with this. By the way, all the more reason I do not buy that Jayden Reed is playing with the Jones fracture. I'm sorry, I just don't buy it. It doesn't make sense. That is an injury that you need, if you're not going to have surgery on, months to recover from. Months. And even then, it can be tricky. That injury almost cost Kevin Durant his career because he came back too fast from that injury, got hurt again. You can't just play through an injury like that. No orthopedist on earth would sign off on that. I just don't buy that that's what's happening with Jayden Reed. And so I can also connect these two and say, look, they're going to be conservative with Micah Parsons no matter how badly you want to beat the Lions in week 1. It's still just week 1. Now in the fourth quarter, is Matt LaFleur going to feel the same way if they really need to get a stop late to get the ball back for Jordan Love, or if they really need to close the door and look, the Lions, 3 minutes left, Jared Goff's got the ball and they're going to start driving to try and, tie or take the lead? Do you put Micah Parsons out there for a couple more snaps? Is he going to be absolutely ravenous to be out there? Well, that part we know. But again, all the more reason to be careful with him early in the game when I assume the Lions are going to want to run the ball. That's going to be a big thing in this game. Run the ball. I don't expect to see Micah Parsons on first down more than like twice on Sunday. But I am telling you, the reason this gets out now instead of before the trade is this is a CYA thing for the narrative. Hey, no, he was actually hurt. And yeah, he's dealing with something. He practiced. They got him out there. And he was limited, but part of that is the ramp-up period. I'm not sure he'll practice in full this week. I'm sure he'll be active. And for the Packers, I'm sure that they're fine with this being out there because maybe it puts some doubt in the Lions' mind. Playing the game a little bit. They love to be secretive about injuries. But if you're the Lions, like, come on. This is why I was annoyed with the Jordan Love stuff. It's like they're gonna prepare as if Jordan Love is gonna play. And if he doesn't, it's Malik Willis. Now, it turns out that's more dangerous than we realized. They're going to have a plan for Micah Parsons, the Lions are. Dan Campbell said as much. And then I saw a lot of responses of the Mike Tyson, everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. The thing is, the Lions are usually the team punching in the mouth. The Packers are going to have to do it, and it cannot just be Micah Parsons because I just don't think he's going to be out there enough to do the punching. I guess we'll see. Lily Zhao, a week 1 Zhao you doing? We are back. Zhao you doing? 2025. Micah Parsons is on. I still can't believe it, you guys. I still can't believe that Micah Parsons is a Green Bay Packer, but he is. And we'll talk with Lily Zhao about that and a lot more next. This is Mazda's Moving the Game Forward, brought to you by those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. Because these moments do more than win, they push what's possible. They remind us to go that extra yard, shift into that extra gear, and keep moving forward. We haven't had a Packers game yet, but one of the key plays the last time the Packers and the Lions met was what should have been the game, leading touchdown. The Packers would have taken the lead in the fourth quarter. The play was unfortunately and dubiously called back for a penalty, but that play was a huge play. The Packers end up tying the game. It was a huge comeback against the Lions. The defense maybe with Micah Parsons, you could get the stop this time. But that's what keeps fans and players alike moving forward, always chasing the next great moment. When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Today's episode brought to you by Supply House. When the opening whistle blows on a new repair, get your crew moving forward with Supply House. Order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow. Over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items from the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. I'm going through a basement renovation right now, and it is a lot to keep track of, and making sure I can get everything I need is a game changer for me. Join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. We are back. We have never been more back than week 1, 2025 with Lily Zhao from Fox 6. Micah Parsons is here. Matthew Golden is here. And so we had to make it a triumvirate. Lily Zhao is here. Okay, Micah and Matthew are not actually here, but they are in Green Bay. It's week 1, Packers, Lions. Lily, Zhao, how you doing?
Peter, I've waited for you to say those 3 words for entire offseason. Zhao, you doing? I am doing great. Yeah, you're right. I mean, what an offseason, right? I mean, holy cow, Matthew Golden, Micah Parsons, ready to rock and roll for week 1. So I'm doing great. I love that we're back.
I'm so glad that we are back as well. I wanted to start here. Like, we have not talked in a while, right? So let's rewind before Micah Parsons. Matthew Golden happens. Did you, like, in the week leading up to that, I had predicted the Packers would draft a receiver, but did you think they would? Did you actually allow yourself to go to that place where you're like, I think that this year might actually be the year that they do it?
You know, I think I talked myself out of it. I think I was convinced because the draft was in Green Bay. I'm like, maybe they're going to go out with a bang in that first round and draft a receiver for the first time in 20 years. And I was like, maybe that's the case. But then I'm like, it's the Packers. They like their defense.
They do.
Maybe that's the route they go. But I will just tell you, just being in Green Bay for the draft that day when Matthew was drafted, I mean, holy cow, I think we were shocked. It was just elation. I am very happy the Packers picked Matthew Golden. And as we all saw, the crowd reaction was insane at Lambeau. Yeah. So I think I, again, talked myself out of it, but I'm happy that, you know, my initial thought was right. And that's the route they went because, I mean, from what we've seen so far, though, Peter, I mean, this kid's a stud.
Yeah, and that was the part that I did not quite allow myself to think of, like, okay, what if Matthew Golden is actually really good? And it's interesting because had the Micah Parsons trade not happened, don't you think that's all we would talk about this week?
Probably, yeah.
Like that's the part to me where I'm just like, are we not talking enough about it now because of the Micah Parsons stuff? That, like, hey, Matthew Golden could be the number 1 receiver on this team, like right now today. And I don't know, like, if you read the stuff that they're saying about, for example, Emeka Egbuka in Tampa, they are like ready to fit the gold jacket on that guy. The praise from inside Green Bay is a little bit more muted, but it seems like everyone is just really excited about this guy. Do you think that the quotes and some of the vibes are like, do you think they're trying to protect, like, is this just a Packers thing? Because they're very protective, they're very secretive, is this just like a Packers culture thing that they don't want to hype up Matthew Golden too much?
I think it's that, but it's also just realizing that, listen, no one's played a game yet, and he's still a rookie. Maybe after week 1, if he has a great game, all the praise starts to heap up from the social media team, and we kind of see that praise that Emeka's got. So I don't think it's downplaying Matthew whatsoever, but I think it really is the Packers' way. Just I think he knows he's a great receiver. The team knows that they got a stud with that pick, and now it's going out and proving why. And the praise will come. I'm sure Matthew probably doesn't care. But I think at the end of the day, if he does become that number 1 wideout, we're going to be talking about, man, the Packers really headed out of the park with that pick to start the year. And then they get Micah, and if he's a home run hit, then I mean, it was just an A-plus offseason for the Packers. But I will say right now, I'm not concerned at all about the non-massive effusive talk about Matthew Golden. I think he'll prove it on the field on Sunday.
I'm not worried about it either. I just think it's interesting. Like other teams and other organizations are sort of allowing themselves to get really excited. It just feels very Packersy that they're like, let's just wait and see here.
Yeah.
It's also interesting, Lily, that if we'd have had this conversation in March, I don't think you would have been saying A-plus offseason, right? Like the fact that they drafted Matthew Golden, he looks awesome, and then they got Micah Parsons, makes this an A-plus. And that's the part. It's like you just never know what can happen here in the NFL. It's why this is such a fun thing for us to get to talk about and do. For the Packers, though, when it comes to this Detroit Lions game, and we know that they're going to be careful with Micah Parsons and all that stuff. What do you hope to see from this team? Like, what are you looking to say, okay, this season is going to be different? What can they show you that will make you see that, aside from, beating the Lions?
Yeah. I would say just showing pressure up front. I think that's kind of been something that has eluded this defense the last couple of years. I think it's proving you have a dynamic front. I think it's, continuing to stop the run. The Packers have struggled in that department. And then
last year.
Yeah. And what does this cornerback group look like? Can they hold up? Does Nate Hobbs play? So there's a lot of questions on the defense that I kind of want to see come to fruition. And I think the Lions game will be a really good gauge of that. And I know last year we were talking about, you have Jeff Hafley, it's a new defensive coordinator, kind of he's plugging guys all over the field, kind of seeing where they fit best. So, is that the case this season? Does he kind of place guys in different spots in the field and where they fit best in his scheme this year? With a couple of new faces. But what I want to see is them generating pressure, being more stout in the run, and then, shoring up that cornerback spot. And, Nate, and what about Bo Melton? Can he make that leap? So I'm excited to see all that kind of hopefully happen against the Lions.
So Lily, remind me, how long have you been covering sports in Wisconsin?
That's a great question.
Are we coming up on a decade?
Oh my gosh, it's been a long time, Peter. Yeah, it's been a decade.
Can you remember a rookie in Green Bay getting this sort of reaction from Matthew? Just going back to the Matthew Golden of it all for a second, like I can't think of one.
I can't either. I can't think of one that's gotten this amount of hype and praise at the level that Matthew's gotten. I can't think of one in the last 10 years.
And maybe that's a problem, right? Like maybe that's part of the issue that people have with Brian Gutekunst is the guys take a while. Like Rashawn Gary, he's a really good player. As a rookie, we didn't see a lot. Like it takes time. Even their best picks over the last 15 years, we had to wait on Aaron Rodgers. We had to wait on Jordy Nelson took a couple of years. Devontae Adams took a couple of years. Even Randall Cobb. We remember Randall Cobb as being dynamic that first season. I think he had like 25 catches as a rookie. Like he didn't actually do that much. They were just really fun when we saw them. So leaning on Matthew Golden would be a change for this team. And I do wonder how much they look at what has happened over the last few years and feel like we believe in our process, but at the same time, it hasn't worked to the level that we want. How much do we have to change that? And I wonder if the Micah Parsons piece is a reflection of that.
Yeah. And just quickly on your thing with Matthew Golden, it's like we really haven't seen a player of like a Jamar Chase caliber come to Green Bay and have that impact his rookie season. And we know how good of a player Chase is right now. Right. So I think Matthew Golden certainly has that trajectory to be that guy. But yeah, you're right. I mean, they certainly have had to kind of switch things up and say, listen, we kind of want to get after the quarterback more and maybe, hopefully that helps our run defense and we're in 3rd and 13 situations all the time. And that's why you bring a guy like him in versus saying we're going to kind of stack our defense more to stop the run. So you kind of look at the defense now, it's more built to get at the quarterback and be better in passing down situations. So I think they had to kind of lean on getting a guy like Micah, but I think it's also a good thing because, you need a franchise altering move. You need a guy that's going to change the landscape of your team. And you just got him a week ago.
This is the kind of move every fan of every team wants their team to make. Go get the guy that you think can change your franchise. And there aren't that many of those guys in the NFL. And they got one of them. That's pretty cool to think of. All right, Lily, you are a resident vibe expert here. Last year, we talked a lot about the vibes of this team and how they seemed different. And then Jordan Love tears his MCL in week 1, has the groin injury in week 8, is never quite the same. And the vibes, frankly, never matched in the regular season what we saw in the preseason. How would you assess whether it's good, bad, different, muted, whatever it is? How would you assess the vibes heading into this season? Because they do seem different to me.
Yeah, and I will say there's always like a different air when the season starts, right? Because everyone's just happy the season's going. You're playing your first game of the year, but just in terms of the last couple days, it just seems like the air in the locker room is just exponentially different because of Micah. I mean, I think guys were giddy about getting him. So you could kind of tell it was a little bit different. I think there was always excitement building in the offseason. And, once they cut the roster down to 53, those are the guys you're going to have moving forward. But then it kind of got exponentially crazier because of Micah and his presence. So the vibes are good right now. And I'm hoping they stay that way. The Lions have had the Packers number the last few times that they played. 6 out of the last 7. So I'm hoping the vibes remain high after game 1. But I will say going into their season opener, they're pretty good right now.
All right, more to come with Lily Zhao here on Locked On Packers. This episode is presented by Yahoo Fantasy. The NFL season is right around the corner and you can feel the buzz. Fantasy football season is here. Everyone's researching, drafting, and building their championship squads. If you haven't joined a league yet, now's the time, and it's all happening on Yahoo Fantasy. This year, I'm playing fantasy football on Yahoo Fantasy, and you should too. Whether you're a first-timer or a veteran, creating your millionth league. With season kickoff on September 4th, now is the time to start playing Yahoo Fantasy Football, which offers more fun ways to compete. Want more ways to play? Try the brand new Yahoo Fantasy Guillotine League mode where the lowest scoring team gets eliminated weekly until one team is left standing. Want to play instantly with friends? Try the new Draft with Friends mode. Prefer the classics? Get your crew together and go head to head in a private league. No crew, no problem. Join a public league, the easiest way to play. The NFL season kicks off September 4th, so don't wait. Start your league now. Draft now at yahoofantasy.com/lockedonnfl. That's yahoofantasy.com/lockedonnfl. The NFL season is almost here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I've been putting in my futures here, and I'm pretty excited about them. I wish so many people had not gotten on the Broncos bandwagon, because that was something I felt good about early, and now it's like a lot of people are talking about that, and now I almost want to cash out. The Packers, 2.5-point favorites in week 1 against the Lions, could be your opportunity to score $300 in bonus bets. Are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. I think so too. Let me tell you what I have noticed, and you tell me if you think that this is on the money or not. I think the last few years, I think last year, coming off of the playoff run that they went on in 2023, this is the youngest team in the league. They were feeling themselves a little bit, and they felt like, okay, it's our time now. And they didn't show up in those big games. And maybe the focus wasn't where it needed to be all the time. Maybe the detail level wasn't where it needed to be. This year, it seems like guys are a little more focused. They're a little more locked in. They're a more mature team because the core of their team is a year older. And I think Matt LaFleur seems much more comfortable, not much more, but I think he seems more comfortable with what he wants to do, in part because he doesn't have to worry about what Jeff Hafley's doing, because Jeff Hafley's really good at his job. They seem more mature to me. Am I overreading the body language?
I don't think so. And excuse me, to your point, I think after that first year with Jordan Love and what we saw him do against the Cowboys in the playoffs, I think everyone kind of got this idea of, oh my gosh, this could be a Super Bowl team the next year, or one that's going to make a run. And then
they got picked by some people. Yeah.
Right. And last year they were a good team, but they weren't a great team, because we talked about all the losses they had were to some of the top teams in the NFC. And they just couldn't get over the hump. And so last year was a big learning experience. They were close to being 0-6 in the division, couldn't beat the best teams in the NFC. And now a new year presents a better challenge for this team. They've been through it. These guys have grown up together. So I think that they have that experience to know, listen, we don't want to be just a good team. We're not bringing in Micah Parsons to be just a good team. We're going to be one of the NFC's, or, the NFL's elite teams. So this is a year to prove that we can do it. And having that experience, I think, is super key.
The pressure is totally different, right? The pressure, now that you get Micah Parsons, you have put the pressure on yourself to say, it is time. You're not just a cute story anymore. That's over. Now it's time to go win. When do you think, Lily, we know Micah Parsons is dealing with this back injury. Dale Melgado was on ESPN yesterday saying, no, he's feeling much better. This is a ligament back injury, not a disc injury. So it's not structural the same sort of way that we normally think of back injuries. My guess is we're not going to see 70 snaps from Micah Parsons on Sunday. When do you think we will see full go Micah Parsons?
That's a good question. I mean, I think it's more so, how does he get out of game, or how does he look getting out of game one? I mean, we saw him pushing up sleds at practice yesterday. And, I think if the back sprain was that severe,
he looked pretty good in practice. I'll say from the clips that I saw, he looked pretty healthy to me.
Yeah. He's not going to go full go if that back is worse for wear. But again, I know he's going to do everything he can to get on the field and play on Sunday, but you're right. I don't think we're going to see 70 plus snaps from Micah Parsons. But again, if he can get out of week one in good shape, I think maybe he gets a little bit healthier, but it's a tough 2 weeks to start the season. You have the Lions and the Commanders. So there's no ease in period for Micah. So I just wonder how long this does linger and when he will absolutely be 100%. But I think he just has to kind of get through it the first couple of weeks.
Yeah. I feel like if the Packers had any concern about the back, they would not have traded for him. He had the MRI in Dallas, went to see the specialist in California, and 24 hours later, he was a Green Bay Packer. Like, I have to believe they felt pretty good about it at this point. Who do you think his arrival, Micah Parsons' arrival, helps the most on this Packers team?
I think the easy answer is Rashawn Gary. That's the easy answer. You double up, triple up Micah Parsons. That frees up Rashawn Gary, who's coming off a Pro Bowl season. Maybe Lucas Van Ness. I mean, listen, he, I think, was a guy fighting for a starting position, but now he's going to be learning from Micah and kind of be that number 3 edge rusher. So, I understand that Micah's a very versatile guy on the field. You can kind of plug him in anywhere, also at linebacker. So what does it do for Lucas? But in terms of wanting to be that number 3 guy, I think you really got to step up your game. And I know Kenny Clark, before he left, spoke just glowingly about LVN and what he was able to do this offseason and the lead he was expecting Lucas to take. So I'm hoping it helps everybody up front, because I think when Micah Parsons is on your defense, it just elevates everybody up front.
I wonder if Matt LaFleur will change the way that he approaches this season a little bit offensively with Micah Parsons, because I had Bob Sturm on from The Ticket in Dallas yesterday, and he was talking about Micah Parsons being maybe the closer in the NFL. If you have a lead late in the game, he will close the door, because if you have to pass and the defense knows you have to pass, Micah Parsons is nearly unblockable. And so I just wonder, like, okay, the Packers win the toss. Is the deferring to the second half thing out the window? No, you want to go up 7-0 now. You want to put the pressure on this team to feel like they have to pass. Will he be a little bit more pass heavy, trying to score, knowing that they have Micah Parsons on the field? I wonder about that. And to me, it would be the right thing to do, but I don't know if Matt LaFleur is going to do it.
Yeah, and again, we'll see what happens with the Lions, but you're right. I mean, with how Matt LaFleur has played with his offense the last couple, last year especially, they were very aggressive by taking the ball to start the game. And that's the trend that we saw. And sometimes it worked, most times it didn't. They weren't able to score. But I think, again, with the version of the offense this year, and knowing that you said, they have a closer like Micah, maybe that's the case. You want to build a big lead and have your defense kind of carry it home for you, which is something that they haven't been able to really do the last couple of years, is have a defense really clamp down on offense and know that, you're up 7-3. That could be a win for this team.
Give me your X factor for this game. Lions, Packers, week 1.
I mean, it's going to be a really cop-out answer. I mean, I shouldn't say cop-out, but Jordan Love. I mean, I think for the Packers to go as far as they want, J. Love has to take them there. I mean, he's going to take this team as far as it's going to go. The Lions have really made the Packers' life difficult, especially last season.
Isn't that amazing? For our whole lives, basically, the Lions have been an afterthought with the Green Bay Packers. And over the last 4 years, the Lions have owned Green Bay. It's wild.
They have their number. Right. They've made the offense just struggle. There's that pick 6. So I want to see Jordan Love just have a really good game against a quality opponent. And I think when he does, the rest of the team will follow suit. So I'm going to say it starts with J. Love on Sunday.
I think that's a great pick. Not a cop-out at all, Lily. Back for another season. Thank you so much. Our week 1's how you doing in the books, and we got week 2 coming up quick.
Crazy.
next week. Can't wait to talk then.
Thanks, Peter.
All right. Thanks to Lily for joining the show. Always great to talk with her. Back tomorrow with our crossover Thursday. And then Coach A, Cody Alexander. Anytime we want to talk defense, we talk to Cody. He wrote the book on modern defense, literally. So he's with us on Friday to talk about Micah Parsons. I know that Lily and I talked about a lot of different things, not just Micah Parsons. This is Micah Parsons week here on Locked On Packers. Don't worry about it. Follow me on the social medias. Follow the podcast on the social medias. Subscribe to the podcast wherever you get podcasts. Subscribe over on our YouTube page. A live squad show tonight, 7:15 Lambeau time, baby. Come hang out with us so you can stay Locked On Packers.